The Foot by Alice Gray, 1852 to 1943. Our improbable support, erected on the osseous architecture of the calcaneous, talus, cuboid, navicular, cuneiforms, metatarsals, phalanges, a plethora of hinges, all strung together by gliding tendons, covered by the pearly plantar fascia, then fat padded to form the sole, humble surface of our contact with earth. Here the body's broadest tendon anchors the heel's fleshy base. The finely wrinkled skin stretches forward across the capillaried arch to the ball, a balance point. A wide web of flexor tendons and branched veins maps the dorsum, fades into the stub-laden bone splay, the stuffed sausages, sacks of toes, each with a tuft of proximal hairs to introduce the distal nail, whose useless curve remembers an ancestor, the vanished creature's wild and necessary claw. Okay, this is a poem by Alice Gray Jones. Alice Gray Jones was a Welsh poet. She came from Gwynedd, which is northwestern Wales, is the coast near the Menai Strait, which goes over to Anglesey. Her family were quite well off. Her father's family owned a woolen mill, and she initially worked as a school teacher. Then she married the Reverend William Jones, and they had 4 children. She was a great campaigner for the temperance movement. The temperance movement was promoting the abstinence from alcohol. It was promoting no drinking of alcohol. That alcohol was one of the leading negative effects on life. Now, what's this poem about? Well, this poem is a description of the foot, and I think it's very unusual in the way it describes the foot. It talks about the bones and the structure, but it's full of little metaphors, and it's full of assonance, and you'll find the pattern, the way that this has been written, the images and the sounds are really interesting. And maybe this poem is asking you to think slightly differently about feet. I think people normally don't think much about their feet unless they've got a problem. Our improbable support. Okay, and this is the foot. It's an improbable thing for us to stand on. If you look at all the feet of other animals, the human foot is very individual. Erected on the osseous architecture, so the bony architecture of the calcaneous, talus, cuboid, navicular, cuneiforms, metatarsals, flanges. Now all of these are different bones. The calcaneous is the heel bone, and each of these are the bones of the feet. A plethora of hinges. So there are a huge number of hinges, all strung together by gliding tendons, and there are tendons. There are ropes or muscle ropes that go all over these feet, covered by the plantar fascia, and then this is all covered by a pearly layer, then fat padded to form the sole, and the sole of the foot is padded with fat. Humble surface of our contact with earth. And here she goes. So the foot, the sole, is the humble surface which we contact the surface of the earth. So surface to surface. And a humble surface. This is personifying the sole of the foot. She says it's humble. This is a human characteristic, not the characteristic of a foot. Here's the body's broadest tendon. Here the body's broadest tendon anchors the heel's fleshy base. So the biggest muscle is anchored on our heel. And look at this, the body's broadest. She's starting now with this alliteration. And this anchors the heel's fleshy base. The finely wrinkled skin stretches forward across the capillaried arch to the ball, a balance point. Okay, so notice the skin stretches. Yeah, this is syllabants. The skin stretches. The finely wrinkled skin stretches forward across, we got more S's, the capillaried arch to the ball, a balance point. And here we go with the B's, a ball, a balance point. A wide web of flexor tendons, and branched veins maps the dorsum. Fades into the stub-laden bone. Okay, so bones, the stub-laden bone splay. The stuffed sausage sacks of toes. This is a brilliant image, and look at all these S's. Splay, well, stub, splay, stuffed sausage sacks, toes. And this is a wonderful metaphor that our toes are like sacks of sausages. I think this is a wonderful metaphor. Each with a tuft of proximal hairs, so each with hairs on them, to introduce the distal nail, the nail at the end, whose useless curve remembers an ancestor. So these nails, these are now useless. The vanished creature's wild and necessary claw. So she's saying that the toenails, these used to be the claws on our feet. They used to be something that were necessary for an animal. And this comes from the claws that they were, but now these are something that we no longer need. And this is a very interesting way of looking at the feet. It's full of metaphors and alliteration and assonance. Yeah, assonance. There are lots of interesting things going on. The tone is very interesting as well, because it's almost written in a medical way, as if she was a naturalist studying an animal or something like that, or a doctor studying anatomy. So, The Foot by Alice Gray Jones.